It appears that the next contestant on White House Survivor is going to get kicked off the island. This is EPA Director Scott Pruitt. Now, recently, it's been reported that Pruitt has been involved in scandal after scandal, including one that where he has rented a condo from a pair of energy lobbyists for an incredibly cheap price. It turns out to be $50 a day. That's pretty cheap when it comes to the DC area. This is a DC condo, which is actually really nice in a really nice area. So a lot of people are like, wait a minute, that looks a little sketchy. You're getting a super cheap price. And, oh, look at that. You're renting from energy lobbyists, people that are pushing liquefied natural gas. That's interesting. So that's just one of the many scandals that Pruitt has been involved in. Now, another one is from being reported by The Atlantic. They reported that Pruitt had used an obscure provision last month to increase the salaries of a pair of staffers by tens of thousands of dollars. So that's another one. There was a soundproof booth that was incredibly expensive. There's, of course, taking first-class flights on taxpayer money, all that stuff. So, look, a lot of scandals, right? Now, I don't think that any of that's going to actually matter anything to Donald Trump himself. Now, John Kelly, that's a little bit different. He's actually increasingly unhappy with Scott Pruitt and the negative news coverage. Now, that news coverage also might actually affect Donald Trump. In fact, recently, the Wall Street Journal reported that the White House launched an investigation into that condo deal, while Politico revealed that the White House Chief of Staff, John Kelly, has considered firing Pruitt over this wave of scandals. So that's interesting. Now, a senior administration official speaking anonymously said Kelly had discussed firing Pruitt even before the latest revelations about his housing arrangements. It's because he has been bringing a lot of negative attention to the Trump administration. So, now, look, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that in this White House, there's probably a lot of knives out for everybody. But I think that recently there's been a lot of knives out for him. And that's, of course, something that we have seen for other staffers in the White House. It happens to be a very cutthroat, very competitive environment, and everybody else is out to shiv everybody for their jobs. Now, Pruitt actually is guilty of this. I'm going to go into that later. But first, I'm going to go here to CNN, who quoted Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Now, during a press release, press briefing, she said that, quote, "The president thinks that he is doing a good job, particularly on the deregulation front." Okay, yeah, well, that's great, right? Oh, the president thinks he's doing a great job. It means my job's safe, right? Not exactly. On the scandals, she said, quote, "But again, we take this seriously, and we're looking into it." Uh-oh. So, look, again, the rent scandal, look, $50 a night, as I mentioned before, that's really, really cheap. Market rent, that is way below market rent. Not only that, but he doesn't have to pay for nights that he doesn't stay there. Wouldn't I love to live in a place like that? Oh, no, I'm not going to be there tonight, so just don't charge me rent. Who gets that deal? Well, Scott Pruitt gets that deal. And why? It's because he goes to places like Morocco as the EPA chief and tries to push liquefied natural gas. Again, that's the same thing that these power lobbyists lobby on behalf of. So, now again, I don't think any of that bothers Trump personally, because again, they're all incredibly corrupt. And Trump and Pruitt, has been doing everything that President Trump wants him to do, especially, like I said, on deregulation. In fact, he's gotten rid of Obama regulations and things like coal and cars, and has actually got him set up to fight California on those vehicle emission standards. However, again, that stuff endears him to President Trump, but the worst thing you can do to Trump, however, is make him look bad by giving the administration negative press coverage. And of course, take up all the time. See, look, Donald Trump cares about press attention for himself. So if somebody else starts taking up the spotlight, even if it's full of scandals, well, that's going to piss him off, right? And Pruitt has been doing that because it's been scandal after scandal after scandal after scandal. In fact, I'm going to go to Politico here. White House aides have privately expressed exasperation with Pruitt in recent weeks over the series of negative stories that have dominated headlines, paired with reports, including in Politico, that he was interested in replacing the even more embattled Jeff Sessions as Attorney General. So there's two different pieces of information in that. One is, of course, all the negative attention, and number two, his personal ambitions. See, those happen to be two things that Donald Trump doesn't like. And of course, the ambition is the other thing. The issue of Pruitt's apparent big ambitions has roiled some in the White House who often note that Trump is turned off by underlings who try to hog the spotlight. It's not about the scandals. It's not about wasting taxpayer money. Now, don't get me wrong. Those have been used to justify people that get fired. But I have to remind you that almost everybody in the Trump administration is entirely corrupt. You think they care about wasting taxpayer money? Absolutely not. No, this is more internal politics. And there are people that are trying to make power plays and steal other people's jobs. That is most likely why Trump is, now doing the same things to Pruitt as he had been doing with other now fired staffers. For example, on Tuesday, President Trump was asked about Pruitt and had offered this, quote, "I hope he's going to be great." Oh, that is just a firm endorsement of Pruitt. No, I hope he'll be great. No, the guy's out. Not only that, but Trump had called Pruitt on Monday night to tell him to, quote, "keep your head up, keep fighting, and that we have your back." No, wait a minute. You might think, isn't that a good thing? He just said, he's got Pruitt's back. Keep fighting, keep fighting. No, but you have to understand, right? We've seen this movie before, right? No, don't worry. We got your back, man. No, they got their back right before the president buries his shiv in it. For example, Trump said the same exact, well, maybe not the same exact thing, but the same thing 2 days before he fired David Shokin from the VA. No, this guy's gone. This guy's gone. Now, finally, one more piece here, right? And that's the statement from Sarah Huckabee Sanders. On Wednesday, she had declined to answer directly when asked if President Trump has confidence in Scott Pruitt. So it's more what she didn't say than what she said. Oh boy, the guy's done. He's done. It's only a matter of time. Now look, before all of you get like super happy, we're going to get rid of Pruitt. No, consider the person who right now is the front runner to replace Pruitt. And for that, I go to the New Republic. The person who would likely replace Pruitt at the EPA is a former coal lobbyist named Andrew Wheeler, Trump's nominee for deputy administrator. Now, it turns out Wheeler might actually be worse. Now, look, he's not only a climate change denier, but, of course, he was a lobbyist who actively raised money for Republican politicians from the fossil fuel industry. You know, the conflicts of interest here would be absolutely staggering. But because, of course, he raised money for politicians that are especially in coal country, that would also include Democrats like Joe Manchin. Well, there is a way that he could end up getting confirmed. Now, if Pruitt goes, which looks more and more likely, there is a good chance that he will get replaced by somebody who is just as, if not more, awful for the environment and corrupt. But unfortunately, that seems to be par for the course for the Trump administration. You replace one terrible person, and someone even worse goes to take their place. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.